we should have just talked together because half that stuff I caught at the end, I'm like, can we bring that over into our SMS rules so we can have a cohesive environment? So it's great. It's going to be hard to follow, but I'm happy to do it.
No. So please. So Holly, introduce yourself and over to you.
Thank you. Good morning, guys. Everyone listening. So I just wanted to start first with thanking these two maniacs, Alan and Johnny. I literally stumbled upon these guys on YouTube. I was captive audience for weeks, and then I stalked them properly and asked them to be on their show because no one's out there telling the truth, and I think that's why a lot of us are here. Is we love telecom for whatever crazy reason, and we want to protect it. Otherwise, we're going to lose it.
Yes.
And that's we're getting really close to doing that. And we've been talking about RCS, which they've been talking about for years. I remember when I first got into telecom, but that's why we're all here, is to create a cohesive, system. And what I really like about TAD Summit is not only do we give people the opportunity to build on an ancient and bring their bright ideas to this ancient ecosystem that is a miracle in itself, but we really talk about the who, what, why all this spam is out there. And so I'm going to divert a little bit today, and I'm going to talk about the elephant in the room and the crown in the room, about scams versus spam. And that's really what I want to talk about today is really, the marketers, affiliate marketing is not the place we're getting the blame, but we really aren't the problem. And so.
You're not even close to the problem.
No, we're not. And
we covered it yesterday a little bit, and yeah. I'm so excited that you're on. I'm so excited that you're talking about the elephant in the room, and I'm going to give you a little bit of surprise on who the real elephant in the room is.
Who?
And it's lawyers.
Yes, exactly. That's literally how I was in the middle of my speech. I mean, we have great lawyers like this right? But really,
the lawyers for the companies with spam. The operators can't admit that there's SymBox fraud. Because the minute and it's the lawyers and regulation and the government. It's the government needing, all they care about is how much can we fine you? Where can we find you? Where can we find you? They don't have the resources to go after people. So as we've been going on to this, I've learned a lot more. And look, the operators, they have attorneys. The operators that have good intentions. It's not them. It's their lawyers are saying, no, you can't. We don't have this issue. Right. We don't know what you're talking about. We just had Wadaro on, who, find SymBoxes for operators, and the information just disappears because their attorneys they almost can't cooperate with the regulators, because all the regulators want to do is sue them and get their money. So it's a broken system, because the truth is, what is a telemarketer doing that's calling you to sell something? At least you come out of it with something. But the SymBox fraud,
we're really
it's Johnny's presentation, so if he talks,
I'm sorry. I'll shut up. Jenny, go ahead, Holly.
I promise, Johnny, you and I are always on the same page. I'm going exactly where you're going, and so all joking aside, what I wanted to talk about was how I became the queen, right? So where'd I get my crown? Who gave me my crown? If everyone would quickly check their cell phones, I've texted you a link you could follow. ... Just kidding. You'll get that later. Thank you for signing up for our webinar. All jokes aside, that this is why I'm here. Honestly, I have not been in this industry for 15, 20 years. I don't have a fancy degree. In fact, I didn't go to college. I went to the School of Hard Knocks of Telecom. The short and long of it is no one understands that we need an actual ecosystem, right? And we need an actual cohesive thought process. And if we don't go that way, if we're going to stay in the realm of we're trying to control, right, by not telling anyone anything, right? Secret handshakes and the secret society of, I have routes that I can run tons of loan traffic on because I've had that route for a long time, and I keep it clean, and I am good at what I do, right? So the four things I'm going to talk about is, like Matthew was saying, box ticking versus collaboration,
Yeah.
The secret handshake and secret society versus, guidance, in collaboration.
Yep.
And then I'm going to end with spam versus scam.
Cool.
That kind of goes into control versus a user guided system where everyone gets revenue in a reasonable ecosystem instead of this utopia that they think they live in.
Yeah.
And letting everyone really do what they're good at. And that's what marketers are for, right? So I kind of come with the voice of the end user and kind of the middle. I'm not an M&O, but I've been managing routes and accounts for marketers for 10 years. Simply because they all ran out of steam on trying to figure out the secret handshake.
Yes.
We really are the last of the channels out there that don't have any cohesive rules, right? If we just threw everything else away, right, and we just worked on the CTIA, which is the guidelines for SMS, then that would be a great place to start, right? If we would just get the actual end carriers out of the way, right? And enlighten them that their utopia of nobody complaining about anything doesn't exist and will never exist, right? I could send 1 million loan messages and get less complaints than Disneyland, right? Yeah. And so really knowing who your customer is and knowing who your customer is, not their license, not their EIN number, not their whatever, their description they write down, actually getting out of your seat and either finding people who understand how to get messaging down the road that is, it's just marketing people, right? Mm-hmm. Scam versus spam. And then letting everyone do their job, right? I have a business and I have a job simply because I figured it out. I don't go through the large end carriers. I don't use Twilio. I don't use Cineverse. I don't use InfoBip, although they're up on my list now. Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to working with InfoBip right now, since they seem to have a brain and want to create an ecosystem. But if we let everyone do their job, then and everyone kind of use their brain to understand what affiliate marketing is and what it's for, then we no longer are the enemy, right? If we would just have we don't need canned spam. We don't need like a large dictionary of like this and that. Just understand that if I have a company and I'm a marketing company and I'm in home services, people are going to come to me because I'm very good at my job, and they're going to implore me to send traffic to their roofing sites and their solar sites and their healthcare sites, because Aetna doesn't do their own marketing. Yeah. Bank of America doesn't do their own marketing. Geico is a perfect example of insurance marketing. Let people do what they're good at, right? What's going to happen if they want to just control, right? They just want to control, right? And like Johnny said, they just want their lawyer fees. A few good things that come out of ambulance chasers. We have the czar, right? He's on our side. He's like, hello, here's the rules. You can't just chase people down. Thank goodness we don't have that as much as an SMS, probably yet, but it is, a little bit more fluid on our side. But that's simply because we've cleaned up our act, right? Mm-hmm. If you give marketers rules, they will follow the rules. If you give everyone this ambiguous pool to swim in, then we're going to have sim farms. Sim farms are going through the roof right now, I will tell you, for legit marketing, right? Oh, yeah. I may or may not have managed some sim farms in the past for legit marketing delivery, but what's going to happen? Sim farms going to go out of control, and now we have more foreign scammers, right? I'm gonna just stay in the scam realm. I don't even care about.
It's become an epidemic. I've had a couple of calls this week from guys down in DC, but they can't admit that there's a problem because the legal departments for the operators and providers can't admit there's a problem because the government will just go out and find them. So there's a big circle going on here.
The solution, Johnny,
you guys are getting the brunt of it.
We are getting the brunt of it, and the thing is, we will follow the rules. I've managed, like I said, I started in personal loan space because they have tribal lending that's legal, and tribal lenders can't do their own marketing within their laws, so they hire a good marketer, and the ecosystem stays clean. Yep. I sent 169 million messages on ZipWhip. I had 10 complaints, and they shut me off. They weren't my messages. They were from they were not my messages. I proved to them that this is not what we send. We've never sent that. And they said, that's fine. We love your, the look back or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, we'd love to have you. You're our largest customer who's not a company. You're clean, but you're loaned. So we are going to shut you off. So it's even within their own rules. We just need some brains in here and some education. But I think what we really need the most is we need a cohesion. Right? If T-Mobile and AT&T and Verizon and if they want their money, they really need to understand that there's going to be complaints, right? Someone can get a perfect steak and they're going to send it back and get a complaint. That's just not how if you're more worried about someone saying, oh, blah, 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 I might switch to another service. Who cares? They'll come back in a year. Like, it doesn't matter. Everyone's swapping their carrier services. But what they don't understand is we are their customers. Yes, I'm a T-Mobile user, but at the end of the day, I send T-Mobile more money as a campaign manager.
Yeah.
I send them way more money as a campaign manager than as a user.
Oh yeah.
Right. And
but it's also, I think what's interesting is it through August was when T-Mobile swapped from using Cineverse onto Infobip. Infobip, of course, it's going, oh my God, this is a massive market. So
they have no idea what they're in for.
Really good. It has
been good, but they have no idea what they're in for, because we all know those floodgates are going to open a little bit.
Well, exactly, because and I see it as a customer, because political messaging stopped. It was beautiful for 10 days in August as they swapped over, because I was getting no A2P SMS. It was reminding me of the days when PSN used to be good. Yeah. And of course, now you can see they're finding alternative routes to deliver the messages. So that's why we're seeing the ramp up on the SIM boxes. Because, okay, we can't go through the Cineverse route, and that don't get us to a third of the market. Okay, then let's activate the SIM boxes so we can reach that, because they're all numbers based, the spammers. Yeah,
and I'm going to keep correcting you, because we have spammers and we have scammers, and the two do no longer intertwine, right? So when I started getting, I was labeled the queen by my customers, because I get things done. So I basically just create a SaaS company in between them, right? Yep. I work with the mobile providers, and then I work with my customers, and I'm kind of like the mobile account manager for everybody. But I work with people like TSG, right? Because they have the TNID system. They're great. I like these MNOs that understand marketing, and they understand and they understand revenue, and they want to keep their routes clean. Yep. They are good at working with the customer. Who is not designed to work with a customer? Cineverse is not designed to work with the end user. Yeah. Infobip, not a little bit more, because they started in more on the user side. Bandwidth, not equipped at all to work with a lot of people. But they have a great product if you can get on it, right? If you can get the doctors. And so I think what we did was, I think I said this before, is we had a problem. We definitely had a problem. But then we got out a big bazooka full of Skittles for a mosquito. Yeah. And we let the clowns use it, right? Instead of finding some warriors, we're like, hey, we can direct this bazooka full of Skittles towards the actual problem. What happened was everyone got greedy, right? So we have a development ecosystem of ancient products that we're building beautiful things on top of. That makes us brilliant to start with. And then we have the carriers who wanted to start getting their pass-through fee, completely reasonable, right? Mm-hmm. 2012, we all made a lot of money, and they made $0. Perfectly reasonable. But what happened was they then started getting involved in what they wanted on their route and dealing with the end user. They can barely be pleasant with their wholesale providers. They are not equipped for savvy marketers to be like, hey, we just want the rules. And then they get the answer of, we're not going to tell you the rules. We're just going to figure it out as we go. Well, how is that a business? How is that a business? So I think we all know the problems out there. I have a few simple solutions that will probably never get implemented unless Johnny and I team up and we really just light some things on fire. We have 10 DLC, which I've lived in that realm for this whole time. I told free I would do. Short codes I never bothered with because it was again, here's your rules, but then you're still restricted. I really like 10DLC or long code before, or DIDs even, if you go back 100 years, because it gives you flexibility, right? You can move things around. You can we're not looking to filter evade so we can deliver, ED pills to children. We're really just trying to get the marketing that someone hired us for, the media buy and the calls and create an ecosystem so we can reach a customer and get it down the line. But because people are lazy and they want to tick boxes, like Matthew was saying, instead of actually coming together and figuring out just an onboarding process.
Yeah.
And not based on a vertical or an algorithm, or solar's bad now and insurance is bad now. It's not the vertical and it's not affiliate marketing. It's the fact that you guys aren't taking the time to actually ask your providers, give me a reasonable box, give the customer the reasonable box to stay in, and they will stay in that box. Yeah. I know, because I have if I say jump, you say how high motto. And I have I have a 2-hour onboarding process to even tell you if I will take your marketing, and I go down the data route, right? Where's your data come from? I really get to know the mindset of who I'm working with. Are they just bullshitting me to get on a route and burn it down? I don't believe in the beehive method, right? They all come, okay, it's working. Affiliate marketing is a web. If one thing's working, all of a sudden everyone's on this one route or whatever, they burn it down and they move on. So, having rules in 10DLC registration, I like it. Is it being implemented properly? No. But do we need something? Yes.
Yeah.
The other thing that we really need to switch to is we need to create a village and actually start working together as the carrier, as the MNOs, as the campaign service providers. Elect Johnny to run some type of actual cohesion on
Alan's not letting me talk, Holly. So I'm
almost done.
Alan's the big boss.
So no, here I'm going to get to the part that you're going to like. So we really need to also focus on what is the actual harm, right? So we have spam versus scam now. Yeah. Before, spammers were scammers. Now, if you send more than 20,000 marketing pieces, you're a spammer. Well, no, we're just good at marketing. Right? So if someone's getting an unwanted call, if they want insurance, they're getting an unwanted call at a time that is not convenient for them, I'm okay with that. Let's focus on the people who are trying to actually clear your bank account. Let's focus on the people who are targeting seniors. Let's focus on the people that are out, most of them are out of the country, right? We don't have any limitations on if you have to have a US company in order to send traffic. Italy does, Australia does, other countries do, right? You can't get a phone number in Australia unless you have a Australian registered company. Same in Italy, right? That detours scammers. That's why they come here, because it's just an open, they can get an EIN number somewhere and run, and they can, get SIM cards and run. So we really need to find a way to focus on scammers, right? And getting rid of some of this foreign scam traffic versus, okay, someone complained because they already have insurance and someone else called them for insurance. You like that one, Johnny?
I love it, but Alan's going to yell at me because I'll start going down that rabbit hole so fast.
But there is a way to figure it out, because we are boots on the ground.
There are solutions. We just had a company on that has a solution that does some work for the operators, and information disappears. You have Twilio has direct connects to the operators. You don't. Why? Because they're big enough, right? So the truth is, the telemarketers are being singled out. And there is a new ball game, and it's unfair. But they just need somebody to point at. It's getting much worse now with SIM farms. It's become crazy. They really figured it out. You've got all these burner phones in Walmart and they're just eating it alive. Yep. And they can't stop it. There was just meetings in DC this past week. The operators can't acknowledge it, and the attorneys hold a blind eye, and the regulators just want to wring necks. So. It's like, oh, you did do that? Oh, bang, fine. So it's a really vicious cycle. But sadly,
I take the nerd route. So really, SIMs have been down for the last about 60 days. So I have a few people who do run on SIM farms exclusively, and their SIMs are just, they're burning out in a day, or they're just not working. And again, these aren't people trying to scam money. These are just people trying to get marketing down. Yep. So the flip side of the legal side is the carriers do a good job turning off traffic. Let them do that. Let someone else onboard. Let your people like TSG, let them handle like the campaign people who want to run because they have the staff that will onboard you properly. Let everyone do their jobs, and we don't need a cannon full of Skittles or lawyers. Because
but you said something earlier. You talked about with ZipWhip, you had 10 customers. ZipWhip's Twilio. Why? Because they wanted your customers. Why is Cineverse and Bandwidth not good at dealing with people like you? Because they want you out of the way. You have to understand something. This is just a vicious cycle. It's the little fish are getting eaten up, and there's more little fish than there are big ones. So they're just trying to close the pipe on you guys.
Well, and the little fish have and the little fish have good traffic. I've watched affiliate marketing go from straight up spin the wheel Amazon cards to these kids working at like the Fluents and the A4Ds, starting their own companies and only doing owned and operated offers and going direct, right? A lot of our good Medicare guys are going direct to the operator. They're going, the roofing is hiring, the roofing companies directly are hiring these smaller firms. And at the end of the day, that if telecom doesn't want to clean up their act, they don't want good traffic from marketing, then two things are going to happen. One, imagine getting your mortgage in 3 years. And because of the one-to-one consent only, and you can't send any outbound marketing, I have to now figure out all of the mortgage companies. I have to contact all of them myself. I have to only deal with them. And who's going to protect me on getting a good mortgage if there's not some type of, affiliate or broker in the middle of it? And so the harm to the customer down the road by getting rid of email marketing and getting rid of, making marketing the bad guy is a lot of small businesses are going to close because they don't understand marketing. They're dentists.
Well, that's really it. Small business. It's an attack on small business, which is 70% of the jobs in America. So there's an underlying theme here, which should be the focus. Shouldn't be the focus on everything else. It should be an attack on small business and small business America. I mean, we did a podcast months ago, Alan, remember when they wanted to charge them, $4,000 per text. Yep. So everybody's jumping down the TCPA. You can't do this, but nobody's really looking at where the fraud is.
We follow the TCPA.
Except it changes every 5 minutes, every day. I got Zara on another webinar talking about this change and that change. I can't even follow it.
But it's the changes insane. Are written down, and we follow them. I'm telling you, we follow them. The only thing we focus on in our affiliate shows right now is, half of three-quarters of our show is about TCPA and compliance. We are following the compliance. We are following the rules. That's the whole point. And we're doing it for like Dutch Bros. We're trying to do it for Medicare because we want people to have a choice within their marketplaces, right?
I think the only hope you guys have is, getting Czar to do what he does, screaming at a higher level, because he's one of the best showmen and communicators I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, well, we all do have another champion that screams really well and understands the rules. You.
Me? No, it's Alan. Me and Alan. We're a team. We're a team here, and we do care about the scams and spam. Yep. But at the end of the day, we're falling upon deaf ears. We live in a world where you have news cycles every day, and people care more about, where somebody's putting out French fries than what's really happening to people. Yeah. And it's just a vicious cycle. And I don't know, Alan, what are your comments? How do you get a solution here? You have a girl here whose business is being threatened and whose small business is being, we never really focused on that side, Alan.
No, we
focused on grandma, the individual. We never really went down this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Well, even grandma gets harmed. Imagine your grandmother or your mother having to figure out who the mortgage providers are themselves and go to each one individually, which keeps it all siloed off. It doesn't protect anybody. The other thing is that we're gonna if they don't figure out a way to get out of their utopia of no one's going to complain, right? We're complaining. We are still your customers on a larger scale, so we're complaining. Two, we're going to lose it to RCS. RCS is going to be a scam nation, because guess who figures out first? Foreign scammers. They figure it all out first. They just look for these little loopholes. They look for back-end bugs so they can send, email to SMS through a back-end loop that's open. I've had guys that do that. And they're just going to lose it if they don't get their S together and collaborate and set out some actual rules we can follow. And then they need to follow the rules they put out there. That's the only thing about can spam I like on the email side. They put out rules and the operators follow those rules as well. It's very simple. Seems very simple.
No, I agree.
If anyone has any questions, or Johnny, you could finish up at the end. Yes, Matthew.
I have a question. Do you mind if I participate a bit? Thank you,
Of course, yes.
really superb walkthrough of the whole thing, right? And I think what you mentioned, and again, we're talking about something that's very US specific with the CAN-SPAM Act, okay, and TCPA. But, CAN-SPAM, it's kind of interesting. So that works, but the TCPA stuff and SMS doesn't. I mean, that's the bottom line here, right? Is that we have a problem with SMS, and we have less of a problem today with email like spam. And there's another thing as well, is that if you like, the actual spam filtering has become a lot more sophisticated in the network itself in terms of who operates email servers, the ability to actually operate your own email server. There are some checks and balances, and there's been a lot of hard work that's been done by a very loose group of individuals, thanks to the Internet Engineering Task Force. And it just goes to highlight for me that the difference is you've got people who are coming together with a common purpose in mind versus a consortium or a cartel club of the old guard.
Bazooka operators.
Exactly.
And that is the difference, because with CAN-SPAM, with 10DLC, I was really hoping, okay, here's the rules. You follow the rules. We'll let you run traffic. We'll follow the rules. And that's just not what happened at all. No. So the whole thing is with CAN-SPAM is they gave people the rules. Like, here's the rules to follow. And then you follow the rules, and then it's still a little delivery, whatever, but that's just industry. Yeah. On our side, there's like hidden rules that we're supposed to follow, and even when we do, we're struggling, and
those rules are different from carrier to carrier. So a medical
MNO to MNO.
Sorry, yes, yeah.
Down to SAS, down to CPAS. Everyone has a different rule.
I mean, one company I know, they were just doing, they do interviews with their doctors, and they were just sending out a campaign to remind people, because there was a big event going on in New York, and their interviews were before some Grammy Award-winning artist was about to perform at the conference. Yeah. So it just said Grammy Award-winning. For a particular carrier, that was a red flag. Or that campaign did not get delivered for that, the customers of that carrier, but it went through fine on the other ones. Yeah. And it took ages to work out what was going on there, because the reporting is terrible. So and it impacts them, because it's the turnout for the interviews they'd arranged was about half what it should have been.
Well, that's also because they are telephone carriers. They are not CPaaS companies. They are not developers. They let us give you the revenue. Yep. It's a reasonable level of error, right? Because it's perfect. And let's all just move on. Otherwise, again, RCS is going to take over. It's going to be a huge disaster. Huge disaster. You think Google cares about spam or scam? Are you kidding? Have you ever ran search feeds? Are you kidding me? Like, they do not care. It's like the lowest of the low of all the scammers. If they can't get anything else done, they go on Google search feeds. Like, it's like the lowest of point of entry. They don't care. And if the mobile operators actually cared, let everyone do their job, let it trickle down, let people who have SAS and CPaaS give us the rules. We will make sure people follow the rules. Yeah, and without that, it's just going to go, it's going to get way worse before it gets better, guys. Exactly. I do have hope in InfoBip, because I had been talking to them for the last year or so. They wanted to do more marketing traffic. They wanted to get come down into the toll-free and 10DLC area where they've been living in short code. And I had some really intelligent conversations with their VP of messaging. And then I saw that T-Mobile was brave enough to pull Cineverse, and I was like, because it'll be a little Wild West for a little bit, but it won't be bad, because they're used to dealing with short code. At least it's not like they're just like one day.
But internationally,
they're not just like, hey, let's start a messaging company. They're a big player. They're a big deal.
Exactly.
I really do think they're gonna save some of us a little bit, hopefully. But if we don't all work together, there's just no point. And
absolutely.
The only ones who win are going to be the scammers, right? Yeah, we're going to replace the word spam with scam.
My advice to you, Holly, because we care about you as an individual, and you're such a rock star. You're You're such a breath of fresh air. My advice to you is pay attention to RCS. RCS is not owned by Google. My advice to you is to take your business up a level, because if you listen to Robert Biz, there was a recent post earlier. I mean, the operators are just handing it off to RCS and this, and they're getting away from the regulation. The operators don't really care. They don't care. What they care about is their business, their subscribers, and the last piece of real estate they own is the SIM and the service. I mean, everything else is everybody else. So look, this is a complex issue, and there's no right answer, but there are answers. And I think for the future of Holly, I think you need to catapult yourself and find a way, which, like, you found a way to get to us, find a way to get to the right people that are managing RCS and get in the middle of it, because I think they need you. Yeah,
I went on yesterday.
Small business needs you because, if they understand, they want small business. They want your customers. They want those customers. So I think you got a better chance being successful with what's going on with RCS and Apple right now than anything else. That's just my bet and my advice as somebody that we at TAT Summit hold dearly, which is you.
Thank you.
And that's a long-term bet. You still need to fill in the interim, because RCS is going to take some time. But Google, I think, will be supportive of making it clean, because their competitor is WhatsApp, and WhatsApp is
time comes fast. Real fast.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you. You are my favorite maniacs out there, and I'm going to stay on and listen. I'm back again. So this is my all of these things string together, and it's using people like myself who have been on the SaaS side, been on the customer side, and really are boots on the ground and understand the customer journey, and bringing in, what we do is we bring in big partners where we're like, hi, you want to test these things? Because I love AI so much. It's not about getting rid of people. It's about enhancing the people that you have. And then also on your bother points, right? Like, if I'm a good salesperson, I don't want to see what your balance is or whatever. But a lot of my Medicare clients are using this for compliance, right? Making sure that all the compliance things are hit so that they're humans are humans, right? They're going to sell something instead of sell it within this box that's necessary. And so if you need a consultant, I'm very good at the customer.
I love this, because actually this fits really well, because we're focusing right now on customer communication and building AI to help with that. But there's so many what I'll call jobs that can be done that can be helpful with this in there. And actually, one of the ones that's been kind of near and dear to my heart is actually your virtual compliance officer. Because this is something that people struggle with. And actually, AI is really good if you.
And they do it after the fact. They don't do it during the fact. And so I built the first compliance for Sunrun when I worked for their first outbound third party call center. And so I worked really closely with Sunrun, NRG, because there's you take agents asking 2 questions and give them 15 questions and look at a roof. But what I chimed in because big enterprise is great. But if you haven't spent time on the ground with your customers, then that's where these challenges as you're describing your challenges, I'm like, it's not that hard, actually. If you just have someone that has the brain and experience with the customer that wants to protect both sides, right? So that's really where I started consulting was, hey, let me break it. Let me tell you where people are going to complain. And then let me tell you about your customer. When I was in SaaS, I tried to drag the nerds to call centers. When I started in call centers, I'm like, hi, I'm going to go see your customer today. Would someone like to come with me so you can stop building stuff that no one's going to use? So I think really, again, it's all about collaboration. That's why I love TAD Summit so much and this whole group of people. Again, I don't even have a college degree, but I do have a call center degree.
One does not need a college degree to innovate space. Trust me.
No, I go on job boards. It's like, and blah, 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 blah. And you must have I'm like, you're missing out on so much talent. So many SaaS companies are built with one person has a degree, and that's the CTO, and that's it. No, everyone else is like, hey,
CTO does not need a degree. I will prove that on that. So
you do not need a degree. If you have a degree, you've spent way too much time in school and not enough time working. So the problems that you were describing, I'm like, it's really hard if you understand.
Actually, it's funny. I'm going to my daughter's school tonight for. Basically, they're doing a mentoring event and going to be working with young kids. And I had feelings because I'm going to go to school environment and be like, I've never actually gone to school, and I'm going to mentor you on this, and I'm probably not going to deliver a message on the formal education that the private school wants.
But go work, go intern,
go build stuff, go innovate. You're going to go
break
through
things.
it. That's going to become.
Alan has my information. I'd be more than happy to chat with anybody. But it's really if we want to improve our ecosystems, we really got to work with all the people together, and that's really what I strive for. Is a community is way stronger than one person's idea, and we need the nerds, and we need the people who are like, hi, this is how we want to use it, and then you nerd it into the nerd part.
No,